Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all well. Today we're back with another round of 2 videos on one show, starting as we always do with the Nervous Guide. And today we have returned to, some can say, one of the pivotal places in London theatre, the Globe, to see A Midsummer Night's Dream. This is the Nervous Guide. On this show, if you want to know what you need to know before going into the show, that was a mouthful. Stick around, we'll get into it in 2 whole seconds. So yes, we're back. Like I said, this is the first of 2 videos on a show. This is the Nervous Guide. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let's get the spiel out pretty quickly. So here we go. For every show that I see, I like to do 2 separate videos on it, time and willing permitted. The first of those being the Nervous Guide. The Nervous Guide is everything you need to know about a show before you go in, be that content warnings, sensory warnings, view from my seat, information about the theatre, merchandise bought / sold, basically anything that might help you and your experience and your just being and going to the theatre, to make it a less anxious experience, because for some people that is the case. And yeah, I just trying to make things a little bit easier or a little bit more relaxing. I don't know, but the Nervous Guide hopefully will help a little bit. The second video is the review. Review is always put in inverted commas because at the end of the day I am no way professional. I just like watching theatre and talking about it, and sometimes, like this time, I went and saw the show alone, therefore you don't get the soundboard to talk about what you enjoyed, what you didn't enjoy, thoughts, feelings and everything else. So that is where the review comes in. That is the next video on this channel, hopefully. So yeah, that is basically everything you need to know about the 2 videos that we create. So firstly, let's get this Nervous Guide out of the way. Starting with, oh, where should we start? Oh, tempting. Let's go with merchandise, because that's pretty easy. I bought 2 things at the Globe. One thing I have to show you because the other thing I had to give back. You're like, what is she talking about? Basically, I was sat in the seating, because at the Globe you can either sit in one of the various different levels, or you can stand. You could be a, is it just a standling? You can be ground level of the Globe for a lot less money and experience the theatre that way. So because I was sitting, I did what I did last time I went to the Globe. This is my second visit to the theatre, and that is that I hired a cushion. To hire a cushion, I believe is £4. I think all in all I paid £9 for everything when I purchased. When you get the cushion, it is about yay big and about yay thick. It's not like a cushiony cushion, but it is just there to ease the pain of sitting on a hard wooden bench for a prolonged period. Where I sat this time had no back, so that was a different experience, because where I'd sat last was at like a back row, so I had something to like help support the bottom of my back, and this time I didn't. I wasn't in pain or anything though, and also the Globe sells not just pillows but pillows and also a little like pop-up seat. I can't remember what they called it, but it was like little structure, and it just popped up and you could like rest, and that was supposed to help with the lumbar support. I went for cushion and I would go for the cushion again. I also bought, as you can see, the programme. The programme cost me £5 and it is a chunky boy. It is a good, strong, heavy, not heavy, but strong programme, complete with information about various things, biographies about the cast and creatives, a few little pictures, and also some other reading material. But pretty decent for £5. And it's also handy size. It's nearly the same size as my face. My face isn't massive if you've never met me in real life. It's not a big face. It's big enough, but not too big. Moving away from my face and onto the seat, as I've kind of already discussed, I was in seating again. This time I sat in the lower gallery. I was in lower gallery, Bay G, row C, seat 37. I purchased this ticket through Today Ticks drops, which means that you get certain tickets like 2 or 3 days prior, 2 days prior or on the day, for a reduced price. So I don't know how much I paid. Oh, I do. So the seat I sat in, according to Today Ticks, costs £98 normally. I paid £68.60 for it. The lower gallery is basically just above where everyone is standing. It was a really good seat. The view looked like this. And apart from a little tiny gap in my viewing because of pillars, which wasn't a massive problem, I saw everything. It was really good. It was also on the aisle, which was great, apart from that it made me kind of obvious for something. We'll get into that. Well, no, excuse you. We'll get into that in 2 seconds. Let's briefly discuss running time and age suggestion. So according to the Today Ticks website, it has a running time of 2 hours 30, including an interval. This isn't my first rodeo seeing Midsummer Night's Dream nowadays. So I knew what was going to happen and when it was going to happen, and I think I said this the last 2 times I've seen it, or definitely last time I saw it. I just feel like it's timeless and works, and you're never looking at how long it's been running for, and again this was the case. Today Ticks also puts this as all ages, but with all under 16s being accompanied by an adult. I can agree, there's no rudeness, there's obviously no swearing as such because it's Shakespeare, and yeah, I feel like you wouldn't take babies and you wouldn't take toddlers as sent really, but there's nothing untoward, and it's a great it's a great happy starting Shakespeare is the best way of putting it. So that is that, and it was just, yeah, fun. Going back to my notes, to the sensory and content warnings. Now prior to sensory, because content wise not a massive thing to warn you about in that regard. As Shakespeare goes, this is quite a happy one. There is a little bit of like, ooh, why don't you let me fight you, but there's nothing like massive punch, big fight, scary, no, you're okay in that respect. The one thing I kind of alluded to before is being on an aisle and being obvious for something. Now this version of Midsummer Night's Dream is relatively audience participation heavy. Now this doesn't mean like call and response, he's behind you kind of audience participation. So as you enter the theatre, once it's open, there are musicians walking around getting people to join in with their singing. It's like 1 bottle of beer, 2 bottles of beer, 3 bottles of beer, 4 bottles of beer, 5 bottles of beer, 6 bottles of beer, 7 bottles of beer. And then yeah, there's that kind of singing. It's kind of livening up the crowd. That kind of goes around the edge of standing, and so like everyone in seating can kind of join in that. Also at the same time as that, there are people that are coming onto the stage, which was mostly people from standing, I think. I didn't really look where they came from. They were standing on the stage and either doing a bit of dancing or auditioning for being part of the players, because in Midsummer Night's Dream, one of the plots is to do with a group of actors putting on this show for a royal wedding. So they are basically auditioning to be part of the players, and that kind of goes on, and it's all just like fun bits before the show. Also, however, when that is going on, there are actors walking around with clipboards. Now, I was on my own, like I said. I also have a penchant for a colourful piece of clothing. I enjoy a bit of dopamine dressing. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Basically, I mean, the black doesn't show, but the green, I like a bit of colour. And on the day that I went to see it, I was in a bright pink fleece. So I was happily minding my own business, and once like I was looking around, I kind of gave eye contact to one of the actors who was walking around with a clipboard, and they came up to me and was like, hey, would you be able, or would you be interested in being part of the show, and saying like one line into a microphone. Now, I am not one of those people who would jump at a chance to do that. I do not like standing in front of people anyway, but they were like, it's one line into a microphone, they need someone that is relatively easy to identify, would you like to do that? And I was thinking, when am I going to ever get this opportunity to stand on the Globe stage again? And two, it's one line, I can get it done and then get off. That was kind of a lie. But I was like, yes, okay. My name was written down. In Act 1, during one of the players' scenes, they are shouting people's names and like, where are you? Give yourself a wave. You will be such and such. And it was like the front of the horse, back of a horse, a tomb, some ninians. It's not ninians, but that's what the kids think. A tomb, and goodness, I can't remember the rest. There's one more. So I was like, okay, yeah, that is fine. So I was like, that's fine, it's Act 2, because I was also told when my name was put down on his clipboard, it will be in Act 2, it will be in the wedding, you haven't got to worry for a bit. So I was like, okay, Act 2, I'm just going to get on the stage, I'm going to be the back of a horse, all is fine and dandy. However, when it came to it, I knew that my time was a-coming when the character of Puck slowly crept up towards me. He like came off the stage during one of the other moments. He came on the stage, came to me and was like, right, I'm going to, in a minute, whistle and lift your arm up. And then I was, after that happened, brought onto the stage, given a microphone, and I became the officiant of the wedding. The character of Puck whispered words into my ear, I repeated them through a microphone, and didn't look at anyone in the audience, because if I did I would have collapsed on the spot. And then I was dragged around the Globe Theatre stage for a little bit, and then gracefully taken off. It was, like I said, a once in a lifetime experience, but if you are somebody, I have got, see, I made notes and I should have looked. 4 people are picked to do roles in the wedding: the officiant, that was me, the moon, the tomb, and the person marrying Puck. Yes, I forgot about that person. But yes, if someone with a clipboard at the start of the show, before it starts, says, hey, do you or are you willing to say a word into the microphone, just be careful. Just, yeah. It was, however, really fun and an experience that I shall never forget. I literally voice noted my friends after it happened. I was like, oh my god, this just happened, can you believe it? It was really, really cool. Sensory wise, on top of being dragged onto a stage in front of I don't want to know how many people the globe holds, we have that there is bubbles at the end. There is a few bubbles throughout the show at different times, but the main bubble moment is at the end of the show, like basically after the bows. There is also, just to warn, in the start of Act 2, some loud noises that come from a trapdoor being open. I believe it is pulled open and then the door, which is like that, drops down onto stage level. In the grand scheme of things, it wasn't a loud sound and you could kind of expect it coming, but it is just something to be aware of if you were not paying attention at that moment. So yeah, apart from that, and apart from being possibly dragged into the show itself, you have people interaction and casts coming through the groundling area. So if you are a groundling, then expect people in and around and near you, because they need to get on and off the stage, and that is one of the easiest ways of doing it. So yeah, basically that is everything you need to know about the show before you go. Can I say I'm an actor now? I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to silence myself because I want to try and film the review in the same clothes before I get packed, because tomorrow I'm off to London again, which sounds bad. However, there is like almost a month in between when I saw this show and me going down this weekend. Anyway, all that's left to say for this video is thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, I hope you come back, and finally all that's left to say is so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen and goodbye. Bye everyone.